Hello, I'm Diana Skaya, and welcome to Face to Face, our weekly summary of the world's top events, but from a Central European perspective. And I'm happy to welcome TVP World Editor-in-Chief Michał Broniatowski as my guest. Michał, hello.
Hello.
So, Michał, Belarus is in the spotlight this week. Lukashenko has released 52 political prisoners, including Polish citizens, of which some of them work at Belsat.
Belsat is one of our sister channels in our Polish television, public TV, but all of them are, those released journalists from Belsat are Belarusian citizens. A part of that, there were also other three Polish citizens. But coming back to Belsat, it's 8 of 12 who were imprisoned by Lukashenko. So there are still 4.
And what that are in prison?
Yes, we are still remaining in prison. Plus, the most important from Polish point of view, a prisoner, which is Andrzej Poczobut.
He hasn't been released.
He hadn't been released. He's a prominent journalist, and he's reportedly in bad condition. Let's hope he will be released rather sooner than later.
Michał, I just want to interrupt you for a comment right there. A few months back, we had Svetlana Tikhanovskaya come here in studio, and I had the pleasure of interviewing her and her husband, who had just been released from Belarusian prison, and she was now holding the portrait of Andrzej Poczobut and really talking about and vying for his release, and unfortunately he was not one of those.
The thing is that Lukashenko is treating his political prisoners as hostages, whom he's jailing for ransom. And he gets the ransom, and so...
Like a currency, right?
Yes, and so this time he managed to get from the West, from the United States, a pledge to let the state airline Belavia right to fly to the West.
The United States agreed to this.
Well, Poland too, because we know from leaks in the past that Lukashenko was ready to agree to release, among others, the journalists from Belsat in exchange for allowing Belsat to fly to the West. As for Poczobut, we hear that his expectations are much higher, concern transport over the border, and then
it's a hostage. It's a hostage.
Well, but, you know, whichever price he requests will sooner or later have to be paid or given to him, because it's really essential that not only him, but also more than 1,000 political prisoners who are now jailed in Belarus and freed and allowed to live a normal life.
Michał, how do you think Moscow is reacting to this? Is Moscow going to take the advantage? Going to take advantage out of this? That now, sanctions are going to be lifted against their plane?
I don't think so. I don't think that Russia is bothered this or that way about these, from their point of view, very small developments. It's important for Belarus to win some easing of sanctions here and there, and well, if they get this easing, it's also a good example for and hope for Mr. Putin that he can get a similar thing. Luckily, he doesn't have these hostages.
In other words, can we say here that Lukashenko is flirting with the West?
No, it's not a flirt. It's gangster sitting on the other end of the table and telling, you pay me this amount of money, or you pay me with this service, and you will get your friends back home.
Hence what I said is the United States is openly agreeing to this. I mean,
I wouldn't say United States were negotiating. I'm sure the Western European side and Polish side were in contact with them and cooperated and agreed for that, because it's a small achievement, but still an achievement to get these people back home.
Well, now another thing relating to Belarus. So on one hand, Lukashenko here is releasing political prisoners, and on the other hand, he's letting Russian drones fly through Belarus onto Polish territory. I mean, Michał, this past week, Poland says 19 Russian drones violated Polish airspace, out of which NATO aircraft was used to shoot several of them down. Michał, what is your take on this?
He's boasting, Mr. Lukashenko, that he informed Polish side about drones coming from his territory. Well, instead of shooting them down, he is a puppet, Russian puppet. In fact, he has a treaty with Moscow under which they are working together in military operations. They have.
We can see it right there, Michał. I mean, all that.
Yeah. So what happened with these drones, who are coming mostly from Belarus, well, at least 19. We don't know exactly how many of them there were.
Right.
Only 3 or 4 are confirmed that they were physically destroyed, rather than just crashing to the ground. Luckily, none of them was armed. They just crashed, but all of them were flying in the direction of some military bases in Poland. So when Mr. Trump says that he's not sure if it was a mistake or not, he's definitely wrong, and he's definitely distorting information of his own intelligence.
Well, exactly. I mean, there's been many statements coming out from EU leaders, and especially from the United States, which, as you just mentioned, the US's responses was very vague, because if we can just see that post there for a second, Donald Trump actually said, what's with Russia violating Poland's airspace with drones? Here we go. I mean, people interpret this last line, here we go, very differently. I mean, how do we actually interpret this, right?
I'm not going to interpret that, because it's ridiculous for the head of the most important member of NATO, which was attacked openly by its adversary, which is Russia, and there is really no official response on this on the part of the United States. No statement from State Department or Department of War, as it is called now, not a statement from the White House.
But why, Michał?
All important governments in Europe, plus the European Union, plus the General Secretary of NATO, condemned with very strong words the actions of President Putin, but nothing like that was heard from the US, which is very strange.
Why do you think that Trump wouldn't react faster, or say something concrete, particularly when he says that he's trying to find a solution to this?
His policy of trying to be nice to Mr. Putin in a hope that he will stop the war is now
collapsing.
It has collapsed, and this is the final crash. What happened on Wednesday.
Although he did reiterate when President Nawrocki was in the White House that the United States stands fully committed and stands with Poland. And now
yes, but the next day he said he will limit the support for eastern flank of NATO, which mostly includes the means problems for three Baltic states. Building anything, any theories or future plans for the future on daily statements by President Trump is a bit risky, especially that most of them are made on Truth Social. Well, the world is now used to treat these statements as official position of the United States, but it's still ridiculous.
Michał, let me ask you about Poland's preparation. In a scenario like this, how do you think Poland reacted? Quickly enough? And let me ask you this. We're talking about the number that we have so far is 19. Correct me if I'm wrong. But let me give you a worse scenario. Let's say this was 1,000 drones. Do you think that Poland would have been ready, and the NATO also, for a scenario of this kind, with Russia provoking technically all of NATO and testing NATO's waters?
If somebody is sending 1,000 drones, you look up and see the sky covered with these delta-shaped aircraft coming, and you can hear them. So, even without a radar, you will be aware that something is coming. But jokes apart, Poland and NATO are not prepared to fight threats, which is very strange because, the war in Ukraine is developing in the direction of a mostly war in the air, driven by drones, which are constantly being improved by both sides, Russian and the Ukrainian. Right. And of course, NATO and Poland should arm themselves with tanks, with super jets, and so on. But it appeared they neglected means to first discover these drones well in advance, in time to get defenses. Plus, they neglected preparation of proper weapons to shut them down. When there are at least 19 drones are coming into the country and only 3 to 4 are officially shot down. And when you compare this with usual figures for Ukraine, where they shoot down on average 80-90% of attacking drones, that tells you that we have no means. But this may be a mistake by Mr. Putin, because this, of course, is a waking call for Poland and for NATO, that we have to very quickly get prepared for such attacks, which
do you think it's going to continue, Michał?
Well,
do you think
it would be stupid to think that he will not continue, Mr. Putin, with this. If he doesn't, very good, but I'm afraid if you want peace, get prepared for war.
Michał, and also with this, Poland decided to bring in in response, Poland invoked Article 4 of NATO's charter. And just for our viewers who don't know what it is, it's consultations with allies. And it's a rare move called when a member state feels threatened, right? Now, it has only been used 7 times since the alliance was created. How soon do you think, Michał, that NATO is going to respond? And really, I do want to ask you, where does Russia intend to take this war next?
We have to assume that Russia will be taking another aggressive steps. NATO, and especially countries in the eastern flank, have to get prepared for war. Never mind, will it happen or not, we have to be prepared. Poland is already a part of Ukraine, one of the best prepared, biggest armies in Europe, and should strengthen still its position. As concerns these consultations, as we know, consultations is just sitting at the table and talking.
Discussing. Speaking of talking,
we will see if anything comes out of it.
Michał, what about the Polish political scene when this happened? I mean, do you think Poland was united in their response?
I'm sure that one of the goals which Mr. Putin had when he ordered this attack was to deepen the rift in Polish politics, because many politicians on the right or even far right and even extreme left are in many cases speaking the same language as Moscow. And there is this very strong disagreement between the president and prime minister. So they were hoping, I'm sure, that this rift would deepen, and the two camps would jump on each other. And what happened? We have an absolutely exemplary cooperation between the president, who is also the head of defense forces during time of peace, and the prime minister, who has all the levers of day-to-day administration of the country. And they met in very early hours of that day when the attack took place, issued a statement, had a meeting already of the National Security Council. So far, so good.
And we hope that it does continue that way. Michał, what about these military drills that Russia and Belarus are conducting? Do you think this is targeted towards Poland? I mean, because of that, of course, Poland has shut its borders with Belarus, right? The country is on high alert.
Russia and Belarus are conducting these drills every 4 years, called Zapad, which means West. 4 years ago, in late 2021, Russia sent 200,000 soldiers to Belarus, allegedly for drills, and then it appeared that these troops were used a few months later, namely on February 22nd, to attack Ukraine from the north, and they were heading from Belarus to Kyiv before they were stopped. This time there are much less troops participating. It's several thousand, a total of 30,000, but not only in Belarus, but also in the region of Kaliningrad. What is important in this case is that between Kaliningrad, if you look at the map,
right,
between Kaliningrad and Belarus, there is so-called Suwałki gap, the 100 kilometers long border with Lithuania. And if we have a war, NATO analysts say that this would be one of the first, if not the first place to be attacked, this Suwałki gap. So it may, one should assume that these drills, these exercises are aimed at checking the readiness of Poland and NATO in general to defend this piece of land.
Right. Well, it is definitely intensifying, if that's what we can call it. Michał, I'd like to move on to another incident that took place in the United States for the last portion of our show. President Trump, of course, stirred controversy by posting on social media saying, quote, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning." Amid his administration, like you said this earlier, rebranded his Department of Defense to the Department of War. This is another change that he's doing. And simultaneously, we've had the shooting of a conservative activist, Charlie Kirk, and that has also sparked intense debate. And we can see right there, this was, of course, created by artificial intelligence, and this is this is Donald Trump talking about how Immigration and Customs Enforcement is going to head into Chicago and start conducting these deportations. Michał, what do you say about all this? I'm seeing you react already.
It's self-explanatory. If somebody is loving in the morning the smell of deportations, it's the so dehumanizing language, also personally expressed by the President of the United States. This doesn't require any comments. As I said, it's self-explanatory. But the problem is that it doesn't. It's not limited to U.S. I understand that you asked this question for this program, because we look at the world events from the point of view of our region. And of course, it has influence on our region, because there are lots of
Polish citizens living in Chicago as well.
Yeah.
let's not forget that.
No, but what I mean is that there are lots of idiots who want to use force to remove immigrants from Poland, from Europe in general, and they are carefully listening to the most powerful person in the world.
Michał Broniatowski, thank you so much. It was such a fruitful conversation. Thank you so much for being with us here.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Face to Face. We'll see you here next week, and stay with us here on TVP World for more news and analysis.